Hi guys, and welcome to the third battle report from Call to Arms, where I'm up against Menoth and Will, who I've played twice before. Now, before I get into this battle report, I want to talk about perhaps a matter that's a little bit more philosophical with War Machine Hordes and wargaming in general, and I'll just explain the situation. In the tournament, you have a 43-point list and a 10-point specialist's choice. And what happened in this game is that, first time playing Sorcerer in the tournament, practiced once or twice before previously, but when I put all the models on the table, for some reason I had in mind that I'm playing Iron and Holt, in this list, and Iron and Holt are in the specialist choice, and the 4-point unit that I want to substitute out for the Iron and Holt choice are the Widowmakers. Now, didn't realize it during the game, and neither did my opponent, but I actually put the Widowmakers on the table instead of leaving them in the bag, purely accidentally. So, without my knowledge or my opponent's knowledge, I actually was blatantly cheating right through this whole game, pretty much. I mean, I was 4 points up on him. Now, got to consider 3 or 4 points here. First of all, didn't realize it until the following day. If this had been a situation where it was halfway through the game and my opponent added my points up and called the tournament organizer over, that could be me disqualified. Maybe for the whole tournament, preferably just for this game, but that's the discretion of the person organizing this thing. I mean, I would, in that sort of situation, accept whatever ruling was given to me. But what actually happened is, of course, on the second day, got out my list because I wanted to play Sorcerer again on the second day, and I realized that I'd done this terrible thing. Absolutely mortified that this had happened, and basically went over to my opponent Will, who had played me, and said, "Look, I need to talk to you." Explained the situation, and I said, "Look, didn't realize what happened. Here's why I made the mistake." And looking back at this particular game, neither the Widowmakers or Iron Holt had much effect on the outcome. And Will was fine with it. He's a very sporting guy, and just totally shrugged it off, no issue. And I apologized and said that that was a terrible thing to have done, and do my best to avoid that ever again. But I think a lesson can be learned here that if you're playing a specialist tournament, you've got to play this very carefully and also watch your opponent as well, just in case something else happens. Because potentially, what could have happened is that that extra 4 points could have made a massive difference in the game, and it would have been unfair for my opponent completely, and it sort of ruins the gaming experience. So I'm very embarrassed to tell everybody that happened, and obviously do my utmost for it to never happen again. But let's get on with the battle report now that ugliness has been discussed. So the scenario is the supply and demand one, with the big circle in the middle with the objectives. As you can see, the Widowmakers, who shouldn't actually be there, are deployed up front. Will straight away moves a Redeemer in and blows one of them up, and then they get engaged by Zealots. But here's the situation. It's E-Sorcerer versus Kreoss, and in the next picture you can actually see the Kreoss army. This is the same army that I played against in Christchurch last weekend and absolutely crushed him with my 3VAD list. And this time he's got pretty much the same selection, except I think there's a slightly different solo choice at the back. So going to the third picture, here's the general overview. The Redeemer has moved up, blown up one of the Widowmakers, and everybody else has run forward. And the idea really is just to sort of play the shooting game with them. I've got much better ranged, ability here thanks to the Winter Guard and the Conquest, and he's got really nothing to crack the Conquest. And as soon as I move in and get ready to actually smash him, it should be fine. And his other list was Epic Fiora. I was really worried that he'd played her, but he was too worried that I play Epic Vlad, and he felt that in his mind my Vlad list would have crushed his Fiora list. So that's what's happened. Going to the next photo, my first turn sees me moving forward and getting some kills. Just some peripheral stuff, really, wanting to get the Conquest up into the zone. And as you can see, I've put Gorman making a cloud next to the Conquest, so blocking line of sight to Sorcerer in case he moves forward with Kreoss and tries to do a drop and pop assassination. Great Bears hanging out right next to the Conquest, also immune to knockdown. They will be trying to cut up some of those errants as soon as they can. Next image, as you can see here, Widowmakers who have done minimal damage instantly get engaged by the Zealots who have mini-feeded, so I can't really kill any more of them before they, of course, knock me down and blow me up with their bombs. But Zealots always can be counted on to do that. Really, the way to deal with Zealots is to just engage them or minimize the damage they can do. So next photo, Zealots have moved in here. He doesn't want to get too close to the frost bubble of the conquest, of course, bonded to Sorsha, freezing anything that comes close. And this allows me to move in with the Winter Guard and Iris, of course, shooting as many of them as I can. He hasn't even bothered with Defender's Ward because he knows that Iris will just get rid of it ASAP. So next photo, in response, I've got actually a lot of guys blowing up the errands at this point. The Great Bears have gotten in there, and he's able to retaliate a little bit with his zealots, but not by much, and just engaging the Widowmakers and so forth. Einar and Holt sitting at the back doing very little, and just keeping the mechanics back from the conquest, just in case he hits the conquest with his battle engine. The Admonisher shot will kill them if they're too close, so trying to avoid that. Next image again here, he's got his Reckoner and Redeemer trying to pour shots into the Conquest at the stage, but they're just simply not doing enough damage. Every time he does that, I can move the mechanics up and heal him, and eventually the Conquest will be in combat with him after I've cleared away the screen of infantry. Next image again, he's desperately trying to get rid of these Great Bears here, but unfortunately for him, they're passing a lot of tough checks, and that really puts him in danger, because if the Great Bears break free of this line of errants, they will be able to charge his battle engine and deal with it, and that's when I can start making a move with the Conquest. Next image, that is indeed what happens. I've cleared out all of the errants at the stage. He does lose some shots at the Great Bears, but passing the tough checks, really terrible for him. So that's really the game right there. Sorsha can easily move up and feet now and actually wipe out all of his remaining heavy pieces. Next image, that's what happens. Sorsha has cracked the feet here. Great Bears move in and instantly destroy the Vessel of Judgment and the Redeemer, leaving only his Reckoner on the table. So next photo, moving in with all of the Winter Guard boosted attack rolls and wiping out the remainder of Zealots. Some Choir can't quite hit Einar and Holt here thanks to Quick Draw and so on, but the Conquest has moved up, healed most of his boxes. If he does send the Redeemer in, he will not be able to kill the Conquest at all, but Gorman is able to go up and blind it fairly shortly anyway. Next image, pKreoss does move forward. He does drop the feet. Kolsk and Volkov not knocked down by that, but he does whack them anyway and destroy them. But pKreoss is really just making a last ditch here, not able to do very much at all. So next photo, what happens of course is the Conquest moves up, destroys the Vanquisher. I have indeed got rid of the objective at this point thanks to shooting it, and Sorsha is basically able to pick up 2 points. So that's the end of the game. As you can see here, Iron and Holt and Widowmakers didn't make much of a difference to this game. Obviously that doesn't justify what I accidentally did with my lists, and luckily me and Will get to rematch in the following day anyway, so we'll get to see a bit of a fairer test with lists that are of equal points. But yeah, interesting what happened. Not the most interesting game, but you're welcome to make your comments as to what you thought of all of this business. And yeah, should be very careful with any specialist tournament coming up.